Laneice is a graduate of Fisk University and Springfield College. She has a BA in sociology and a master's in human services. She is the direct director for the Department of Workforce Development in the Bureau of Job Service. She has a youth organization, motivates women through speaking and serving her local community. She serves on several boards, but most importantly, she just wants to live a life leaving a positive impact. Tonight, she is here speaking about the confident you, and she wants you to leave here knowing to live unapologetically and authentically in your own truth. By doing so, you will automatically be more confident. So please join me in a warm welcome for Laneice McGee.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I am so excited to be here. And I have the answer to your confidence in this bag. Is everybody ready to leave here with the answer to your confidence just right in this bag? Wouldn't it be great if it was just that easy? So we're going to see by the end of this workshop, and I have my notes, that you all will have the answer to your confidence because I have the bag and I have the answer. And I have the answer just because I'm the speaker today. So that's why I'm so excited that I'm here, because I get to share with you guys a little bit about my journey and about my story here. And so I'm here today talking about the confident you. Being, doing, and living your very best life. And so what I'm going to do today is share a little bit about my story, my journey, and my own truth with you, and why I feel like living and being confident is very possible and very doable for everyone. And so this is going to be interactive. That way the time will go very quickly. Is that all right? Yeah. So, everybody sees what this word says right here? Act? Yes. So everybody say act. So it stands for action changes things. That's what it stands for today. So can everybody say action changes things? Action changes things. So today, we're going to do some actions, okay? So when I say act, understand that there's going to be some action involved. Is that okay? Well, I hope so, because today we're going to learn by doing. And so I don't consider myself an expert in confidence. So then you may be wondering, well, why am I up here talking about confidence if you're not the expert? I don't consider myself to be fearless. I still have some fears. Does anybody in here have fears? Okay, so did everybody get a note card? Did anybody not get a note card? Okay, so let me make sure you get a note card. Can you? Thank you so much, Chameleon. Yes. Did you put them in the back? Are they in the back? Back in the back? So, yeah, so Chameleon will get you a note card. So what I want you to do is I want you to think, and don't think too hard, okay? I want you to write down on the top of your note card fear. And I want you to write down one or two things that you would like to do or that you need to do, but you haven't because of some type of fear that you have. So don't think too hard. I just want you to, what comes to your mind, the first one or two things that you need to do, but you haven't because of some type of fear. Write that down on your note card. If you're watching us on the webinar, write that down on a piece of paper. What is one to two things that you need to do and you haven't because of some type of fear? Either or. Either or. Either or will do for the activity today, okay? So that goes back to me sharing with, I still have fears. So I could participate in this too. This is a part of the action, right? I still have fears, but yet I still consider myself confident. I'm not fearless, but I fear less. So my goal for everyone today is that you will leave here and that you will fear less in some area of your life. I really feel that that is the key to us having confidence, is that we learn how to operate in fearing less each and every day. It is a constant journey. I don't know if we ever, and if somebody has reached that pinnacle, great. If we will ever reach the point where we have no fear. I don't know if we will get there, but I do know we can get to an area where we will fear less, fear less, fear less. And we do this by action. And so I decided one day to jump. I decided to jump. I decided to take a chance on Laneice McGee. I decided that Laneice was worth it. And so that's what I want you all to decide today. A lot of times we do have the fear, and it is uncomfortable. And when we jump, sometimes we go backwards, and it's like, why did I even do this? It's not working out the way I planned. But the great thing is, if you look at it from a different perspective, you can see what you've learned and what you've gained from that experience. And so we are going to be doing some jumping today. And I hope you all are ready to jump and take some action. Again, I believe this workshop is called The Confident You. And the way that we become confident is really knowing ourselves. Because a lot of times when we're not confident is because we're not sure of ourselves. We're not comfortable in our own skin. We're not comfortable in who we are. And so therefore, we're not comfortable and confident in where we're at and what we're doing and what we're saying. And so I think that if we really focus on being confident in who we are and what we do, then we become confident in other areas. And so it's about taking those little risks, facing those fears, that we become more and more fearless every day. And so I want to share a little bit of why I'm doing this today. And so this is a picture and why I chose to do it on today. Today is my birthday. Can y'all say happy birthday? Hey, hey, hey. So yes, I did this intentionally on my birthday. So I brought, please you guys, we brought all that stuff from Milwaukee, like it was really far, but still we came from Milwaukee. Grab some treats and things before you leave. Take those with you. Celebrate with me. Celebrate life. I have the saying up there, you only have one life to live, so live it confidently. So what made me even want to do the Confident You workshop today? And this picture says a lot here. So on this day last year, I turned 40 years old. And I am a very happy person in general. I'm happy all the time. I'm not one that really gets depressed or anything like that too much at all. And so when I turned 40, I was shocked and amazed that I actually was very depressed. And I went through just a very, very sad moment in my life, and I did not want to celebrate life. I was not happy at all. And I just wanted the day to pass. I was very irritated when people were like saying happy birthday and everything. I was like, shut up. Do not remind me that it's my birthday. Has anybody ever heard of a milestone? What's a milestone? A nightmare if you haven't reached certain things. At least that's what I thought. I was like, oh my God, 40 years old, that's a milestone. And I haven't accomplished A, B, C, or D. And so instead of understanding that, I made 40, some people didn't. Instead of me understanding what I had accomplished and celebrating the life that I had, I started looking at all the things that I didn't have. And then what I really had to do was understand that what box had I put myself in? Who expectations was I living up to? Who parameters were I living up to? Were they the parameters and expectations of my own, or were they parameters of my mother or society, of this is what you should have accomplished, this is how much money you should make by this time, this is the kind of house you should have, this is how many children, dogs, fence and all that you should have by this age, if not, what happened to your life, you know? And so really, I had to really sit back and think about what was going on. And this person in the middle, her name is Brandy Iberia. She is an amazing individual, and I purposely put her in the middle because I look a mess in that picture. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say that because I did not want to be there. I was not really happy, but she called me up and she said, "You are celebrating your birthday." And I could actually get kind of emotional about this. And she planned a celebration for me regardless. She said, "It's important that you celebrate life." And she got my friends together, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm gonna tell you why. Brandy, can you please come up here and grab a gift? This is a gift table for my thanks to you. So you can pick a gift. So let's celebrate Brandy. Thank you, Brandy. And she did not even know she was in this, first of all, so surprise. But I'm gonna tell you why this is significant, because this gentleman here, my friend of 18 years, it's the last birthday he would ever celebrate with me. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that that was the last year I was gonna see him, the last birthday I would ever celebrate with him, the last time that I would get to really enjoy my friend. And so I thank my friend for putting that together. I thank my friend for letting me see the importance of celebrating every moment. And so, although that's not really about being confident, it's about enjoying life, you know, but it is about confidence too, because I lost confidence because I didn't have certain things. And my confidence isn't in things. If I'm waiting for the applause of other people, I'll be waiting forever, because what happens when they're not clapping anymore? Then where does your confidence go, right? And so he's not with us anymore. And so I'm just so grateful for this. And so who's ready to jump? Somebody say they're ready to jump? Okay, so that was my aha moment. I want someone to take a leap with me today and come up in front of the class and tell us, what was your aha moment when you knew that it was time for you to start making changes to live the best life for yourself? Anybody ready to jump and come up here and just share with the class? Act, 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 act. Somebody come on. One person, come on. All right, are you gonna jump? Oh, come on. If you have one, we're going to have more opportunities. So, yes, let's give it up. Woo! Mm-hmm.
My aha moment.
Is it on?
Voice low?
Okay.
Can you guys hear me? No, can you hear me? I talk loud enough. Okay. My aha moment, sadly, was when my mama, was actually my grandma, we called her mama, passed away. She was a double amputee. She died with diabetes complications. And she always talked about traveling and always going to see the Blue Ridge Mountains. And she always kept putting the trips off. She kept putting it off, and every year, and then she was gone. And so I learned from that I would just not consistently put things off. I would live a little, I would go, I would do things. I've taken trips. I'm kind of a type A and a very rigid person sometimes, so I have to get out of my head to learn to plan things for me. You know, I can work 50 hours at work, I can do things for other people and help people, but I had to learn to take care of myself. My grandmother took care of everybody else, raised grandkids, and maybe didn't do things that she could have done more for herself. So a little bit more self-love. And my aha moment is to travel a little bit more, within this, obviously, and do more things for myself.
Yes, thank you. And because you were brave, you get to pick a lovely gift from the table. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, and the reason why I have people doing this is because I believe action changes things. And although this might not be the area in which you fear, and you're like, what does that have to do with confidence? Because it's taking a risk. And if you're able to take a risk here, a little risk in front of people you might not know, then that will give you the confidence to take risk in other areas. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do. Take small risk in other areas that might not be as scary for you at first, so that when it comes up to, okay, this is where I really need to focus on. Now I conquered this area. This was a little scary, not too much scary, but I did it. So now let me really work on these other areas. So thank you for participating. And it could be scary, especially if you don't like to. Anybody afraid of public speaking? Like, who is terrified? Everybody look at those hands. Because we want one of you to take a risk today and face your fears and come up here, because you can do it. Okay. So basically, the main goal, again, is that you become a change agent for your own life. Behavior is what will change things. We can think all day about what we want to do, but if we don't change our behavior, nothing is going to change. What will motivate you? Trust yourself. Find that inner strength to release your own wisdom. Take small risks daily, and I just kind of talked about this, or weekly. If you can't do it daily, at least try once a week. What risk are you going to take at least once a week so that you will fear less? Again, I don't know if we will ever be fearless, but what can you do so you can fear less and become the confident you? So I love this quote. And so really quickly, just in your packet, in your booklet, you have something where you can introduce yourself in 20 words or less. So just kind of find a person, because public speaking is something that people are really afraid of. And I chose to do this activity, and I want someone who is not comfortable with public speaking to do this activity, okay? So find somebody you don't know and introduce yourself to each other. And then somebody will jump who is not comfortable with public speaking and come up here and just introduce themselves. But first you'll practice with each other so you'll get comfortable. And then one person will jump. And guess what? You should always reward yourself when you take a risk. I don't care if it's some ice cream or something. That's why I have the rewards. So reward yourself, I did it. Or go get an orange or something. Reward yourself when you take the risk. So we'll just take a few little minutes, find somebody. You can do this short little introduction, introduce yourself. I'm only having you practice with each other so that when you come up here, you'll be comfortable, whoever decides to take the risk and go for it. Okay. Thank you all. Now, does anybody remember anybody that raised their hand? Oh. So, who's willing, somebody that says that they fear public speaking, to jump today? Oh, come on, let's give it up. We got a jumper, y'all. We got a jumper. So, thank you so much.
Oh, very welcome.
So, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to the group, telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, King, maybe not. Is it? Oh, okay. Well, I'm Robert, and my partner was saying she wasn't really afraid of public speaking, but she heard of Toastmasters and that, and I did do Toastmasters, but I was after I got my CC, which is 10, then I just kind of slacked off, and I was afraid to kind of talk because I pushed myself more to get the simpler 10 talks, and then I went to advanced manual, and I've been afraid more to get to offer to talk. So, and this is one reason why I thought I'd get up today and I'd stand in front of you all.
Good, thank you so much. Because you jumped today. You get to reward yourself. Rewarding is good. Thank you. Any other jumpers? One more jumper? Any other jumpers? Nah, we'll keep going. We'll keep going. I think you want to jump. You want to jump? She wants to jump. Come on. Yes. Woo! Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angela. I've been working as a CNA for many years, and now I am working outside of Matt, I live in Oregon and work at the school district. The other age group, the younger kids, in the kitchen, working a few hours, balancing home and work. And this time of year, I could love being in my garden and just getting at that point, my 50s here, so doing that. So, yep.
Thank you. Please reward yourself, because jumping is scary. Your stomach turns, everything, your hands sweat, all kind of things go on when you jump. So thank you so much. So there's 3 points that I want to make sure that I talk about with the confident you. Being, doing, and living. Those are so important when we talk about being confident. So, being. Ask yourself, are you being true to who you are? Some people like to say, fake it till you make it. I was watching a Facebook Live by Chantel McKenzie of Power Her Network. She's amazing if you never watched her before. But she said, don't fake it till you make it, face it till you make it. Why not face that thing that you are afraid of? I don't want to fake, because when you fake, this is my thought, I got to remember what I faked every time I show up. But if I'm just who I am, no matter where I'm at, then guess what? That's who I am. I don't have to fake it. I don't have to remember. I can just be who I am and be authentically that. And when I mess up, guess what? I can own up to it, because it was my mess up. It wasn't a fake mess up. It was really me. I really messed it up, and I can own that. So being you, to become a change agent for your own life, the first thing is you have to be. Right? And everybody heard about becoming Michelle Obama. Well, I had a quote way before that, and I have it in your booklet. It says, I have to love the woman that I am as I'm working on the woman that I'm becoming. So do you love the woman or the man that you are as you're working on who you're becoming? I'm definitely not the Laneice McGee that you will meet. I definitely ain't the one that you from last year, and even then. So I will not be her. But as I am right now, I have to love myself right in that process, my imperfections and all. So can you honestly say, I believe in myself. I'm me. I'm in love with who I'm becoming. So really get to that process of loving yourself. And if you don't, you really need to dig deep. Why don't I? And how do I get to that process of being there? So the next thing is doing. What are you actually doing? And why are you doing it? A lot of us are doing things that we don't want to do. We have no desire to do it. It doesn't even lead to our ultimate goal, but we don't have the strength to say, I don't want to do it. One thing I love about young kids and older seasoned people that they have alike is they will speak what's on their mind for 2 different reasons. Okay, young kids, they don't have boundaries. They don't know that you shouldn't say that food is nasty, you know? And older people are tired of telling people, I like to eat your food. So they just tell the truth. I don't like it, it's nasty. So it's 2 different reasons. So I'm like, why can't we get to the happy medium where we can just say how we feel in a respectful way, but still be true to ourselves? So what are we doing and how are we thinking? Are you doing the things that are going to lead to you living the life that you choose? Ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? In your packet, there's, and we won't do it due to time, but there's something called your why. And I do want you guys to do this. What's your purpose? What inspires you? And what do you believe? Sometimes we don't even know those answers. You really have to ask yourself, why am I doing what I'm doing? If you don't know the answer why you're doing what you're doing, you need to stop doing it until you know why you're doing that. Your why should feel everything that you're doing, okay? And so really ask yourself, okay, am I being myself? And in me being myself, am I doing the things that are going to lead me to the life that I want to live? And sometimes I know we're in transition and we're in a process. We can't just stop doing everything, but we need to make sure that we're leading on the path to lead to do the things that we want to do. Are we taking those risks? Okay. Oh, and there's a quote in your book too, and I really like this one. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. So what are you doing? Are you doing anything that's going to lead you to the path to what you want to do? And the final question is living. What kind of life are you living? And what does that mean? What does living life mean to you? Have you taken the time out to really think about that? I can't be confident if I'm living the life, and I'm just using my mother, not that my mom was like bad influence or anything. Am I living the life my mom said that I'm supposed to live? Or am I living the life that I chose to live? I can be confident in a decision that I made, even if it's not the right decision, because I made it. So what life are you living? Are you putting yourself again in a box? And the thing about it is, what regrets will you have? There is, and I'm going to share this short poem with you really quick, because I just love it. And again, this goes with living. Ask yourself, are you living? It's called The Woman in the Glass, and of course it can be replaced with The Man in the Glass. Gentlemen, so don't get offended. When you get what you want and struggle for self, and the world makes you queen for the day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what the woman has to say. For it isn't your father or mother or significant other who judgment upon you must pass. The person whose verdict counts most in your life is the one that's staring at you back from that glass. She's the person to please, never mind all the rest, for she is the one that is with you clear to the end. And you have passed your most dangerous and difficult test if the girl in the glass is your friend. You may fool the whole world down the pathway of life and get pats on your back as you pass, but your final reward will be heartache and tears if you cheated the girl in the glass. So ask yourself, are you cheating yourself, or are you really living your life? Because when you live your life, I'm telling you, you will be confident, because you will be happy. I love that song, 'Cause I'm happy. It makes me happy just hearing that song too. Like, yes, I'm happy. So this is just quick definition about confidence, and this is what I love. Confidence is not, will they like me? The confidence is, I'll be fine even if they don't. Okay? Are you really living a confident life? And if you guys want this PowerPoint, I think I probably can send it to you, because I see some of you writing notes and taking pictures, but I can definitely send this to you. So what stops us? And there's different things that stops us from living confident. The number one thing is fear. That's why I list some of this, but it's other things. We don't do things because we failed before, other things have happened, but the number one thing is fear. Fear. So this is very, very scary. I want somebody to jump again. Action. What does ACT stand for? Action. Okay. Who is willing to stand up here, or you don't even have to stand up here, from your seat, just share a fear that they wrote down on their card or fear that they have? Okay. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. That's good. Anybody else? Fear. Fear of failure.
Public speaking.
Public speaking. And you just did it. Okay.
Because I'm in my seat.
Okay. Yes. So, I like this too. Most people go to their graves with their music still in them. Whew. I went to this funeral in Ohio 2 weeks ago. A really close friend of mine, mother, passed away. And her husband was doing the eulogy, and he said an African proverb, and said, was talking about how she lived her life. And I thought I wrote it down. It was so good to me. And said, when death finds you, will it find you alive? When death finds you, will it find you alive? I'm like, wow. Basically, will it find you, did you live your life? Or will you go to your grave with music still in you? How many people died and they never did the things that they thought they could do, the things that they wanted to do? I don't want to go to my grave wishing that I would have took a chance to start my youth organization, wishing that I took a chance and fell in love with him. Maybe he broke my heart, but at least I tried. You know, I don't want to go and not take risks. No matter what you do, it could be a relationship, it could be a job, it can be anything. There is risk involved. We cannot avoid it. But is it worth the risk? Are you worth the risk is really the question that you have to ask yourself. Or will you allow fear to stop you? So that's just basically what a risk is. I just love Dr. Seuss. So I just had to put him in here somewhere, so I just put him in there because I just love Dr. Seuss quotes. Today I shall behave as if this is the day I will be remembered. And I just love that because I'm like, I want to remind myself of that all the time. Am I behaving? Am I acting like this is the day I will be remembered? And I forgot. Who volunteered and said a couple of fears? It was like 3 people. Come and get your prizes, please. Don't forget to get your prizes. Yes, you get a prize, okay? Y'all got to keep me in order now. You got to let's celebrate them as they come and get their prize. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm not going to play this, but I want you guys to write this down. It's called the breakup song. If you never heard, has anybody heard of the breakup song? It's called the breakup song, and it's a song about breaking up with fear. And it is really, really good. You have to listen to the words. But she literally talks about breaking up with fear and how she had this like love relationship with fear. And how it had no good, it did not serve her life, okay? And so I want you all to listen to it, and I want you to make a decision to break up with fear, okay? And decide that it's not serving you and it's not doing you any good. So just say yes. So in your book, and I do have some extra copies. It's an actual booklet if you want to take extra to give to anyone. There is a Just Say Yes challenge. Today I decide to jump. So I challenge you and I challenge everyone that's on the webinar to please say yes to yourself and say no to your fears. So what you will do is you will write down a goal. You have to write down a date that you will complete it by. Why is this goal important? Think about any possible barriers. This is important to do. Think ahead, what barriers? You already know, because when you have fears, those are the things that are stopping you and why you're not doing it anyway. So think about all those things that are stopping you from doing it. And then what I need you to do is think about some ideas to overcome those so that you can tackle those ahead of time. And then if this goal really matters to you, what will it cost you if you put it off? Write that down. And then the next thing, you need an accountability partner. So who are you willing to share this with? And maybe partners, because sometimes people will fall off too. So maybe you need more than one person. And then how will you celebrate once you complete this? Be going out to, like I said, come up with the way. So is everybody willing to just say yes to themselves? Think about a goal or something that you want to accomplish. Okay. And we have about 10 minutes. Is that right? I'm thinking. So, again, this is just a reminder that if we want different results, we have to do different things. And the most important thing that I kind of want to end with, and there's just a few tips, is it's really about your mindset. How do you see yourself? And I love this picture, that's why I used it. I was doing a workshop the other day, and my friend's son was at the workshop, and he hadn't seen me in like some years. He came up to me, and he was like, "Are you a superstar?" And I said, "Yes, I am." You know, I'm not really, of course, but hey, I can see myself any way that I want to, and if he thinks I am, great. But how do you see yourself? Your life is only as good as your mindset. And so, do you have a growth mindset, or is your mindset fixed? Really think about that. Do you really feel that you can't overcome any fear that you have? Do you feel like I can be confident? I can get that job. I can have a healthy marriage. I can raise strong children. I don't know, whatever area that you feel that you're struggling in with your confidence. Do you believe that really you can be confident in that area? If you have a fixed mindset and you believe that you can't, that's the first area you have to work on, because it doesn't matter how many activities we do. It don't matter how many jumping jacks I do up here. If your mindset doesn't believe it, it's going to be hard to achieve it. So first, work on your mindset. Make connections. And sometimes you need that push, like the video said. You need to connect with other people who have a growth mindset. And so these are just some examples to be able to spot what kind of mindset do you have. So kind of just think about that. And again, I can send you guys the PowerPoint so you can kind of see just different ways people think who have growth and fixed mindsets. I just like this because you all probably seen something like this. It just shows people who are successful, and it shows things that they have considered failed in, really, like wisdom, things that they learned in. But if they would have stopped, they wouldn't be where they are at today. So I think it's just great examples. The things that you're going through, the things that you're learning, they're not to stop you. They only are lessons to keep you growing. Oh, is it 7:15 or 7? Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm thinking 7:15. Okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Because I would have did the activity, but okay. So, what is your mindset? Now what you need to do is figure out what your mindset is. So, do you have a fixed mindset, or do you have a growth mindset? So, how is your thinking? Is your thinking stinking, as they say? Or do you really have a growth mindset? What kind of self-talk do you have? What are you saying to yourself? And you really can tell a lot about people by the conversations that they have. You can tell a lot about people by the people they hang around. And then you want to tell yourself, too, if this person is always negative, if this person only hangs around negative people, do I want to involve myself around those type of people? Because what will happen is that can be an influence on you, especially if you know I'm struggling myself with my own mindset. I don't need to be around a whole bunch of other people who are struggling as well. So I just like this. So again, this is all about self-talk. And I like the serenity prayer. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the serenity prayer, but it says, "Oh God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between the two." And I think that is so powerful, because a lot of times, and this goes to our thinking, I like the prayer, the quote, because we spend so much time focusing on this last thing, on this second thing. We focus on things that we can't change. We have no control over it, but yet we spend all our time and our energies and our thoughts on things we have no control over. But if we can just get the wisdom to understand, okay, I have no control over this. And I kind of want to backtrack too a little bit, because when it comes to fears, there are things that you can really be fearful of that have some validity. And I just want to share that because at a prior workshop, someone had said something about they had a fear because someone was getting released, and they had a fear that the person might harm them, right? That's a real fear that could truly happen. So, and I only wanted to share that because I don't want to say that fears cannot have validity. So what we have to do is understand and really look at our fears and look and see, okay, what part of this fear is there any truth to? What part of this fear, and I'm sharing that, what part of this fear do I have control over? Okay? And then what can I do about it? So if there is a situation like, okay, I'll just use that because that's a real situation. Okay, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to make sure that this person doesn't know where I live. I need to make sure that my house is safe. I might need to go take some gunshot. I mean, there's real things that people have to do because there are real situations where fear is real and there's a reason for fear to be real. So I did want to address that because there are real situations that we should be, that can cause fear, but we cannot allow the fear to overtake us. But most of the times, our fears are worse than really what the reality is. But I didn't want to belittle that sometimes things can really happen. So the next thing we have to do is create to create our self-talk is create a culture for yourself that forgives and is understanding to mistakes. So are you forgiving to yourself? Or are you very hard on yourself? I remember, and my friend back there, Shamillion. Hey, Shamillion, wave, hey. We have a business together called Big, Beautiful, and Blessed, and where we promote positive image and plus size models. And I made a huge mistake, y'all. It was so horrible with our calendars, right? And we spent a lot of money and we printed all these calendars. And when I tell you, this model called me and went off, and I mean, it was just bad, okay? And it was early in our business, and so I felt really bad. We lost money and things like that, and I was really hard on myself, and I was like, I'm done with this business. I'm not doing it anymore. And I wasn't really forgiving of myself. Well, eventually I got over it. Obviously, I'm still doing it. But I had to, first of all, own up to my mistake. Secondly, learn from it, and then grow from it. And even in my job now, every area of my life, I done made mistakes, okay? Look, I can give y'all a list if y'all ever want. If y'all want to compare mistakes, I got some for you, okay? So the point of the matter is that we all have made mistakes. And don't be so hard on yourself and don't feel like you can't bounce back. Call yourself the bounce back kid. Love your imperfected self perfectly, okay? Because we all have them. And discuss your screw-ups. Discuss, okay, this is how I messed up. This is where I made a mistake. That way you don't make the same mistakes again. Sometimes we don't want to spend time on looking at where we messed up at. And again, we have to take those risks and be careful not to focus so hard on the outcomes. Now, we do have to have outcomes, like I like to have goals and things like that, but if we focus so hard on, I have to hit this point, that when we don't hit it, then we become very hard on ourselves, then we feel like we're a failure, and then sometimes we give up. Sometimes the goal has to flex depending on where we're at, depending on what goes on. So be flexible, and again, that goes back to forgiving yourself and being understanding to mistakes. So, again, what language are you using? How are you talking to yourself? And how do you talk to others? And I saw this and I thought this was kind of interesting. And there's some articles on this about not apologizing, thank you so much, when it's not necessary, and only saying apologies when you're really sorry about something. Like, for example, when you're late or something, versus saying, I apologize for being late, saying I'm sorry or whatever, saying thank you for waiting for me. Thank you, I appreciate you for waiting for me for this period of time. So just basically, I think it's about being conscious of the words that we're using when we're communicating with people. So really think about, how are you showing up? And I'm going to use it as example. I was talking to a gentleman. They used to call them gentleman callers. Do y'all remember that? Y'all might be too young to know when they called them gentleman callers. But I was talking to this gentleman caller, and I forgot what it was about. But anyway, I said, I'm sorry about something. And it was nothing really that I was sorry about for real. But I was like, I'm sorry, something. He said, yeah, you sure are sorry. I didn't go to jail, so he's living, y'all. Everything is okay. I'm fine. But that taught me something. there. I was not a happy camper, first of all, when he said that. Like, I was like, how dare you talk to me like that? But then I said, how dare I even open my mouth to say that? You know? So I thought about myself, first of all, in the language that I chose to use. Of course, I'm not talking to him anymore. That gentleman caller went bye-bye. But the point is, we have to be mindful of the language that we use, because language is important too when it comes to confidence as well. That's just one example, but really think about the language that we use. I even think about when when it comes to, say you're working with, say you're a supervisor or something like that. Do you call the people you work with staff, or do you call them a team? I like to call my people team. They're my team members. They're not yes, they all know that they're my staff, but they're my team because we're together. You know what I mean? So really, just think about the words that we're using. This is another great example, the power of yet. A lot of times we'll say what we're not good at. Well, I'm not good at public speaking. I'm not good at whatever. But just by using one different word, we can change the whole mindset. I'm not good at this yet. I wouldn't even say I'm not at anything. I would say that's not my strongest skill set. However, I am learning this. But I think it's just important that we are very mindful of how we use things. And when we take risks, I'll say this too. I'll use Michael Jordan as an example. Didn't he try to do baseball? Yes. How good was he? Not, right. But he took the risk, you know? And so it's okay. Sometimes we're going to do stuff and we're going to say, that is not the area of my strengths. And it's all right, and we won't know unless we take the risk. But I don't want to go to my grave with music still in me, wondering if I could have been the next great baseball player. But I tried, and it wasn't my area. So take those risks. Luckily, he could play basketball, so he was great anyway. He could take those risks, but you can too. So these are some steps that I want to share with you that you definitely can do. First of all, we have to be quiet enough. We have to silence the noise around us so we can hear the voice within us, right? So listen to your own mindset. What are you saying to yourself? Listen to your self-talk. Before you go up and do something that's, for instance, if you were public speaking, before you were coming to public speak, what are you saying to yourself? Are you already saying, I'm going to screw up, I'm going to stutter, I might trip, are you already talking negative? I'm going to mess up. Well, even if you do, guess what? They don't know. You could just, even if they do, laugh with them like, oh yeah, y'all see me fall. That was funny. Thank God I'm okay. Do y'all have some insurance? Dude, just keep going with the flow of whatever it is, right? So mind your self-talk. And when you are talking negative, then you have to talk back to that. So if I said something negative, I have to reverse it and say, okay, let me reverse that negative into something else. How can I change that? Recognize that we have choices. I have an option. I'm not made to do anything. And then again, I already said this, but talk back to yourself with the growth mindset. And next, this is the most important thing. Act. Action changes things, right? So we have to act. Again, we can think about all this. You guys can write those things down, but if you don't do anything, if you don't face those fears, all they will do is you're going to stuff this. You might throw it away. Just don't throw it away in front of my face, okay? That's gonna mess with my confidence. No, I'm just playing. But if you do, it's all right. I'm just joking. But if you don't do anything with the information, it's nothing. It's just information. You can get information from Google, or we are so great at getting information now. I've been to so many seminars, right? And I'm sure you have too. How many of us have actually taken that information and applied it? So we have to do some action. Even if you decide I said once a week, just challenge yourself once a month. Do something. Do something with it so that you can grow. Then make a plan. When, where, and how. When, where, and how will I do this? And if you don't want to go it alone, get somebody with you. But don't wait on them. Because again, like I said at the beginning, if you're waiting on the applause of others, if you're waiting on others to jump, you might never jump. Or they might push you and say, see you later. Everybody's not going to come with you. Okay. So this is very important when building self-confidence. And it's a lot of little steps. But the first thing is we have to just decide. Make a decision today. Today, that's why I put that on every single page. Today, I decide to jump. Make a decision right now before you leave that I'm deciding to jump, no matter what. Whatever it is that you wrote down on that piece of paper, that's why I had you write it down and not think too hard, because then you'll change your mind, and it's not difficult because you already know. Today, I'm going to jump. Make a decision that you're going to be confident. Make a decision that I'm going to do something differently than I've done in the past. You have to believe in yourself. Find out what areas that you lack confidence in and why. And then ask yourself, is there any truth to these thoughts that I'm having? Is it true that I'm a horrible public speaker? Is it true that, okay, there may be some truth to some things. Is it true? I'm horrible at math. There's some truth to that. Okay, is there something I can do about that? Yes, I can go take some classes. So if there's any truth to anything that you're thinking, what can you do about it? Because most of the time it's just a skill gap. So what can we do to build that skill gap? Okay, so it's about us taking honest inventory and addressing it. Pay attention to your negative thoughts. Think positive. Some people do a journal to think about what they're grateful for each and every day, just to keep them grounded. And in your handouts, I did something about your strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes we have a hard time assessing what we're good at. So there is a challenge in there where you can call, where I challenge you to call 3 people who know you in different areas of your life. So it could be someone at work, someone through maybe where you volunteer, and someone in a whole different area, and ask them, what would you hire me to do? If you needed advice for something, what would you get my advice on? What do you see I'm passionate about? And see what they say to you. Write that down. And then ask yourself, does that align to when you wrote down what you're passionate about? What's your why? And then if not, how can you line up so that what you're passionate about, what you should be doing? Because if somebody say, oh, I will hire you to do weddings, and you hate doing weddings, then look, why are you doing weddings still? So that means you need to change some behaviors that you're doing, because you're not even lining up to your own passion. So it's important, because that will give you inventory of how other people see you and sometimes you have a good skill, but it doesn't. I have skills I don't want to use necessarily just because I have the skill. It's not necessarily my happy place, okay? But I'm glad that I have them. Practice. And when you dress nice, you feel good, okay? But I can be dressed nice and look great and not have the confidence. That's why I kind of put it down. I mean, it's good to look good, but if you haven't dealt with, the number one thing is your mindset and wanting to change. If you haven't dealt with those 2 things, you can be dressed beautifully and it won't matter. And I think the greatest example is because me and Shamillion, like I said, we have the plus size modeling calendar, and those women are beautiful. But a lot of them lack self-confidence because of their weight, size, and things like that. But they're absolutely, I mean, when you see the pictures, they're stunning. And I'm telling you, they get clothes made for them. Beautiful. But yet, if your mindset and you don't think you're beautiful, it don't matter. You just dressed up, but inside, it needs some work. So dressing is important. Your body language, how can you make the lemons into lemonade? Think about that. And this is important. There was this lady who lost her son, and it's really sad. anybody that loses their child. That's so difficult. But she took that painful moment, and now what she does is help other people through that journey. And it's so powerful, right? And like, she does this in a way where people who leave her, they're like, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I didn't even want to live. And now after this, they find a way to, because you can't overcome that, right? You can't forget a child. But they say, now I know how to live my life differently, you know. And she took that situation and she made a purpose out of it. So that's like the worst situation I can ever think of. But she made something work for her. Set goals and be flexible with it. Take the journey with others, celebrate along the way. And this is so important. Define success for yourself. Don't put yourself in a box, and don't let anybody else define what success looks like for you. And forgiveness works both ways. We will extend it. Sometimes we don't give it back to ourselves. These are my 4 W's that I made up that I think we should remember. Because we will be, when it comes to confidence, we will sit in one of these areas. Either we're going to wallow, and what does that mean? We're going to wish we would have. We're going to see other people doing it, and we're going to wish, man, I wish I would have just took a chance. And we're going to wallow in grief like, man, I should have. Or we're going to witness other people doing what we did. And we might not wallow. We might be like, because if it's my girl, I'm going to be like, that's my girl. But I'll be like, I could have did it too. But, you know, we're going to witness because somebody's going to do it. How many people seen on TV like something and you like, man, I thought about that like 3 years ago? Or some people made, and you thought about it, but you never did nothing about it. You just thought about it. I mean, think about it. All the things that you like, man, I should have just stepped out. Somebody's going to do it. Wisdom, what does that mean? You did it. You were like Michael Jordan. Yeah, that wasn't the right one, but I learned something from it. So you're going to gain wisdom from the experience, but at least you took the risk and you did it, or you're going to win. I don't know, I want to be in these 2 areas. I want to gain wisdom or I'm going to win. So that's where I'm hoping that everybody will get from this. Take risk. The life you live is the legacy you leave. What legacy are you going to leave for your children, for people to come behind you? What do you want people to say about you? So we can rewrite our own story. I don't know where your story is right now, but we all have a choice and we all have an option. And we can rewrite our journey. Can you erase it? Let me add this, let me do that. So I encourage you, wherever you need to make some changes or some adjustments, do that today. Today, you all said that you were going to jump. And I believe that you all tell the truth. Y'all just look like y'all tell the truth. I believe in y'all. So y'all going to tell the truth, and y'all are going to be confident, and y'all going to do the things that you need to do to take actions. So final reflection here. I want you guys to break up with fear, and I want you to live your best life. And the final thing is I have the answer. Yes, thank you. So, Ms. Vanna White is going to pass out the answer today to everyone. And she has the answer to tell you that you have, and open it and take it out of the wrapper. And you guys will know exactly what it is when you get it in your beautiful hand. If you change your words, if you change your mindset, you will change your results. Why put off tomorrow what you have the power and the option and choice to do today? So again, the word that I want everybody to remember is act. Action changes things. So I encourage you, whatever you wrote down on your index card, Take a risk. Do that. Work towards that. Whatever you wrote down on your just say yes, your goal sheet, do that. Find an accountability partner. Do something with them. Take a risk. Make a change. Make a difference. Did everybody get the answer? Does everybody have the answer in their hand? Okay, I want you to hold it up in your hand. Everybody repeat after me. Say act. Action. Changes. Things. Now I want you to open it up. And I want you to look at it, and this is the answer. Say action. Changes. Me. That is the answer. When you start doing the actions, you will change, your behavior will change, and so will your results. So I thank you all for your time today. And please remember, take some treats for my birthday. Thank you. Thank you.